All right, everybody, welcome back to Philadelphia Eagles Talk with Geoff. We have some real positive things to talk about this week. And I know you guys already heard my post game. We're going to quickly just go over because we got Matt on the program like we do in the midweek. So we'll get his thoughts on the Cleveland game and what he thought, his thumbs up, thumbs down, general impressions on how the Eagles performed on last Sunday. And then we're going to dive right into the upcoming Jaguars game, as well as talk about the trade deadline, which is rapidly approaching. So those are the topics of conversation for the episode. Before we get into it, if at the end of the program here, if you like what you see, please subscribe and like and comment, as any comments that we do get, we will make sure we address on the following episode. All right, so with not any further ado here, Matt, welcome back to the show as always. And lots of real positive thing. It was a second straight week where I only had one little nitpick thing as a thumbs down. So I already gave my thumbs up and thumbs down on my post game. So what are yours? What's your impressions and thumbs up, thumbs down for the game?
Thumbs up. The offensive line handled Trey Hendrickson, the one pass rusher that Cincinnati has, and that was largely Fred Johnson's responsibility, and they didn't have to help him out all the time, which was pretty cool to see.
Yep.
Jeff Stoutland University just in full effect once again, and thank God he's been here. Like, again, if there's one coach you would sign to an infinite contract, it's Jeff Stoutland.
I agree.
So 52 thumbs up for that offensive line, because the offensive line played great and Hurts didn't turn the ball over. You've also got a thumbs up for Jalen Hurts, because I'm like, you just need to not turn the ball over and we can probably win every game until at least we get to the playoffs, right? Then you might need to make a play. But if you just eliminate the turnovers and the silly plays, then we're all right, and we'll be all right.
It was probably Hurts' best game in over a year.
He looked confident, didn't he?
He did.
Whether he was designed run on the touchdown around to the right end,
yep.
He didn't hesitate. He ran with a little bit more speed than we're used to seeing him. So that all of it was good on Jalen Hurts' part. The throw to Smith was awesome. The catch by Smith was even more awesome.
Beauty.
And I didn't even think it was that hard of a throw and catch until I saw the replays multiple times.
Catch was really hard, I thought.
And just to track that ball like D. Smith did, he's just amazing, right? Now, yeah.
And Jalen put it right there.
When A.J. Brown's on the field, both of those guys are true, like, number ones. I think when A.J. Brown is off the field, Smith kind of gets neutralized a little bit. So keep those receivers healthy, and we should be good to go. The running game, Saquon can turn it on and whatever he wants to, but I found it interesting that he was struggling a bit until they threw Ben Summervin into as the fullback position there. Is that his name? Summerlin?
Summerlin. Something like that. Van Summerlin? I think it's Summerlin.
Van Summerlin, that's it. The linebacker playing fullback. Barkley just seems ultra comfortable running behind a lead blocker in that capacity, and it allows him to just not worry about making that first guy miss. And it seems like he's able to hit the jets immediately if there's any space there, and he's into the secondary, and then anything can happen. So you saw more of that come up alive in the second half. So I really hope the Eagles keep that even more in their packages for the future weeks, and don't wait till the second half. Do it early. And press on these defenders so that they get tired and gassed, so that we can throw it over their heads in the second half. So those are my thumbs up. Thumbs up on defense. So the DBs, man, Cooper and Quentin Mitchell.
I'm loving our DBs, man.
They're the real deal. Cooper moved on that 4th and 1 attempt out to the flat to Jamar Chase. Cooper DeJean had to move all the way across the field and loop around the linebacker, so he's not. How many times have you seen people try to make that play and they either run into their own guy, and I'm just talking on the Eagles, just all teams, or they get slowed. And Coop just was like, "No, I got this. I got it." And as soon as
I was just going to say, Matt, that's exactly why they run that play and put the wide receiver in motion, because they want to hopefully get that guy who's covering him and responsible to get caught up in the traffic.
Yep. And it usually works when you only need a yard. And so Coop was just on it. No hesitation. Went, hit the tackle.
Yeah.
totally shut Chase down, and just he's a great player already. Yeah. And if they just keep scheming him right, it's so exciting to have him and Quinion on the other side, like for our future for cornerbacks. And we're going to need him now more than ever because Slay is hurt, and who knows if he'll be back for the game against Jacksonville. But, Sidney Brown, healthy, played a little bit in the end of the game, didn't get to tackle his brother, but they're just so well. Howie, another feather in Howie's cap is how quickly he turned around that old aging defense that we suffered watching try to hold a lead last year and blew every game in the second half. And now they've gelled together, and it's pretty exciting to see a defense that is going to be able to cover. We haven't had guys that can cover pretty much since Brown and Shepard consistently every week, right? Slay's been there, but there's always some wishy-washiness with the nickel and the other cornerback across from Slay. It's kind of like we haven't found our guy. Well, we've got 4 young dudes in the secondary that can play football, and that's exciting. And Cooper's just getting started. So, and I give a thumbs up to Nicole Dean.
They're both a handful of games in their career, and they're already good.
Yeah, their stats are ridiculous for how many defense passes they have and limited touchdowns, limited completions. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And N'Kobe Dean. So I was pretty critical of him last week when you were singing his praises, but he did put together a second game where it's like, okay, maybe something.
2 straight.
Yeah, maybe the light bulb is going on for him. He had a great heads-up tackle on another flat pass that was kind
first tackle of the game. He kind of sent a message.
Yeah.
He made the first tackle of the game where he nailed that. I think it was a running back or wide receiver right out quickly in a flat, man. He was right there and popped him. I'm like, as a leader, that's what you want. And like I keep saying, I project him to be the leader of this defense one day. I know that seems like a major reach after his slow start to his career, but now you're starting to see some of it. And that's the type of play early on you're trying to send a message.
Yeah.
If
he's going to be a leader, he has to do it through his physicality because he's a quiet dude. He's not.
Yeah, he's not a rah-rah guy. Right.
No, I think Nolan Smith is the other guy that I'm like, oh, he's coming alive too.
Yes.
And he got caught, kudos to the Bengals schemers on offense because the play that they got Chase open in the end zone for that pass to just have Chase out of the backfield, like that was a matchup nightmare.
Great.
Broke to the right, and I'm like, he's got Nolan Smith on him. Like, this is gonna be a touchdown, no problem. Yep. And poor Nolan's trying everything he could do, but you have a defensive end, rush linebacker, Jamar Chase. You're gonna lose every time.
Yeah, I mentioned that in the post game. I said, listen, those of you who are like, what the heck is Nolan Smith covering Jamar Chase? Listen, that was the way that they drew it up on offense. You got to give Cincinnati credit because they lined up Chase in the backfield, and who's got responsibility on that particular play, that defensive scheme that the Eagles called? Obviously, it was Nolan Smith who had his responsibility was what was typically going to be a running back there. If he went into the flat, it happened to be Jamar Chase. Brilliant. And didn't audible out of it or anything. So you can't expect him to cover Jamar Chase. It was just a great design play call. And you got to give Cincinnati credit for it.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw the replay of Joe Burrow before he throws that ball, but he's just like, yo, Jamar.
Yeah, he gave him a little. Is that what you mean?
No, I got you.
Yeah.
No one's out there waving his arms. He's like,
just a little.
There ain't no chance. He's lost.
But
in plays that he was supposed to be active and do his job, he did his job again. So that the D is coming around.
Yeah.
And, you can argue how good are the opponents they've played the last 3 weeks. But since they've come out of the bye week, that defense has been stubborn, to say the least. Right. So
the Georgia guys especially are starting to prove their worth. I'm glad you brought up Nolan Smith because I didn't talk about him much in my post game. And it was one thing I was like, I gotta bring it up with Matt because I really didn't talk about him much. I think he's got 3 straight games with at least a sack.
Yeah.
Or half a sack.
Or half sack.
Something. He's at least been productive the last 3 straight games. So you're starting to see him figure it out, and obviously along with N'Kobe Dean, like you said, and then Jordan's been better. He hasn't been, the dominant guy we were hoping for, but he's been good. And Carter's been doing his thing too. Carter had another sack also.
Yep.
So, yeah.
It's funny when Carter blows up a play, and Burrow's a mobile quarterback, right? So if that was Kirk Cousins back there or somebody that doesn't run as well as Joe Burrow, they would have had 2 or 3 more sacks on that. So excellent play by the defense overall. So I'm not really sure I have a thumbs down. Everything was pretty consistent. Um,
You want to know what my thumbs down was?
yeah.
Same thumbs down that it was the previous week. That's your hint, if you remember. Again, it wasn't really a player.
Yeah, there had to be a coach.
I mean, it wasn't a coach, though. I mean, it has to do with coaching. The initials are TP.
I'm thinking of toilet paper, man. I don't know.
Push.
Oh, yeah.
Too much. The damn push again for the second straight week.
Look,
that was my only thumbs down.
Yeah, I would like to see him. I would have liked him to give Barkley the ball again. That one run where he just trucked the Bengal defender along the sideline and almost still got the touchdown before it was out of bounds.
Away.
I don't know how you don't just line up and let Barkley slam it in to give him one opportunity just for stats sake and say, hey, go get it. You know?
Yeah, that drive was all Barkley. Remember, he had that drive that run that you're talking about, and before that, he had like a 13 or 14-yard gain. I mean, he brought him down into the red zone and then ran it to the 2-yard line again, and then they touch push it in.
Yeah, and I don't know why, because running backs hardly ever get injured on goal line carries anyway. So it's like you're not like you're risking Barkley's health for the game or trying to save yardage. He's not. He's just gonna wiggle his way in for the touchdown. Let him go get him. So yeah. So
running this year, running. I mean, we saw Barkley play quite a bit, being in our division. I don't remember ever seeing him run, bowling people over like he's doing with the Eagles. He probably has, and I just forgot.
Fans can probably speak to that.
He's a physical back, man. I'd hate to be a D-back trying to tackle Barkley.
Yeah, he's the whole package. I think minus his injuries, he's the one running back that's come out of this decade that is up there on that tier of running backs of all-time greats. He's not been healthy enough to put up.
He just hasn't been healthy enough. But
but talking about the eye test, Barkley is right up there with all the best I've ever seen. The balance, the shiftiness, the juking, the slobber knocking when he needs it, the speed, it's all there. So
we just need to make one more catch this season, and the Eagles will only have one loss.
Yeah. And to be honest with you, that's where this team is, right? So you take away the defense trying to gel over 6 weeks, and we probably have a win there. And it's not what I love about it is we're 7, 8 weeks, week 8, we're crushing, like everything's starting to gel. And with all these teams that started off hot or had high expectations and got through those first weeks, you're starting to see some of those dismantle themselves. Like the Cowboys are slowly just falling.
They're like imploding.
Some other teams that had some expectations are just having rough goes, right? The 49ers aren't really all that anymore.
They've been snake-bitten with injuries,
They have.
They really have.
But the Eagles seem to be with the arrow pointed up over the last 3 weeks. And regardless of the skills of the teams,
Cleveland just did. They just beat Baltimore.
Yeah. So Cleveland's not that bad, although we got to play them with
Deshaun Watson over, we had Deshaun Watson at quarterback versus Winston, but still.
Well, the safety Hamilton on Baltimore, though, it's rare that he drops a pass like that that's in his breadbasket. So that game would have been over if he just makes that interception. But I love Jameis Winston. What a positive thing to have if you're a Browns fan. Like, just, I don't know. You've got to keep Jameis on the field.
He's always been like a gunslinger, though. He's kind of got like way too much Brett Favre in him. Like, he'll throw 380 yards passing and 4 touchdowns, but he'll have 3 picks. And
he may not have that many. He might have 2 touchdowns and 5 picks when he was
playing. Or something like that. Yeah.
But he's a good guy. He's a good soul for that team, and that team needs something to be motivated to play around. So, anyways, that's where I'm at with the Eagles game. They handled a struggling Bengals team, but I did think the Bengals were going to be able to do more on offense, and our defense was like, no, you're not. They drove down the field for that first drive, and then the Eagles were like, man, we got this. Yeah,
I found everything for that I had written up, except for what our predictions were score-wise. I have it here. Maybe I have it here. Yeah, so you had
I'll bet you I've got the record pretty close at this point.
You had the Bengals losing, or winning, rather. You had them beating Eagles 31-28. This is our prediction from last episode. I had
Okay.
them winning 27-26. So we both underestimated our defense for the game, but weren't too far, weren't too off. You were in the 30s with your guess, and I was upper 20s. So yeah, it was great to see our defense play as well. You know, I think what we did is we knew that Burrow was the best quarterback that the Eagles had played this season so far, and we thought that the defense would be tested because of it, especially on the road. And they passed the test. They really played really well. It looked like it might be a long day, and after that first drive when Burrow took 10 minutes and just methodically went down the field, and then they scored a touchdown. But after that,
they didn't miss Higgins that much on that first drive. They're hitting Gesicki all the field.
No. Well, that's the other break they had. It's true. Higgins didn't play either in the game, but I don't know if it would have made it. I mean, I don't know. It might have made a little bit of difference. Higgins is pretty good wide receiver too, but the way the Eagles are playing, it may not have made much of a difference. But anyway, getting back to the actual, because I know you've referenced this a couple times. I haven't had it on me. So right now, schedule-wise, our predictions go like this. Opening day, you had the Eagles winning. I had the Packers winning. So I was 0-1 to start the season. You were 1-0. Second week, we both had the Eagles to win. They lost that game that they shouldn't have to the Falcons. So I'm 0-2 to start the season in my predictions. You were 1-1. Week 3, you picked the Saints to win. I picked the Eagles to win. So then we're both 1-2. Or no, you're 2-1. I'm 1-2. And then you picked Tampa to win, which you were right. I picked the Eagles to win. So I'm like 1-3 to start the season. You're 3-1. Browns we both had. So 4-1 to you. Oh no, wait a minute. Yeah, you had the Browns.
Yeah, Browns.
We both had the Browns.
There's no way any of us.
We both had the Eagles rather. So yeah, you're 4-1. I'm 2-2. And then we both had the Giants. So you're 5-1. I'm 3-2. Why are my numbers off? I gotta be more than 3-2. 4-2? 4-2. Oh no, because I have 3 losses. Yeah. So I'm 3-3. 3-3. And you're 5-1. Going into the Bengals. This is weird because you picked the Eagles in your initial prediction and then switched.
I did because I lost faith. I was like, the Eagles had some questionable experiences going into that Bengals game where I'm like, prove it to me.
And I did the exact opposite.
Yeah,
I had the Bengals initially and switched to the Eagles. So I did the exact flip-flop as well. Man, my preseason prediction is horrible. It's competing with my fantasy team.
Yeah.
And by the way, 2 straight wins.
Yeah, you helped me out. You knocked off that number 1 team.
Yeah, I beat a team with a 5-game winning streak. Yeah, I helped you out.
Yep.
How about those Wolves? Still at the bottom of the heap. Still at the bottom.
I'll give you a golf clap for the Wolves for that one victory.
Yeah,
Good job.
Yeah. Okay. So, getting back. So that's kind of where we stand. So your predictions doing very well for the season. And for this game, just before we get into our own predictions later on, we both have the Eagles winning this week. All right. So before we get into the Jaguars, let's talk a little bit about there's a week to go for the trade deadline. There's been some hot rumors that always circulate around the Eagles this time of year and how he does make moves from time to time. He's not nearly as active, really, probably around the trade deadline as he is like during the draft. Definitely not. But there's some rumors about some potential, moves out there. There's been some trades already. What's his name there? The outfielder from the guy that went to the Chiefs.
Hopkins.
Yes, Hopkins. Yeah, Hopkins went to the Chiefs, which I think is a great move for both the Chiefs and Hopkins. What are some of the other trades? I know there's been a couple like little minor ones. See the biggest name that moved? There was another one, wasn't it?
In my opinion, he's the biggest one that moved. There was a linebacker traded for a linebacker.
Yeah, there was some linebacker moves.
The Jets traded for Devontae Adams earlier.
Yeah, we talked about that one.
So, the biggest thing was probably DeAndre Hopkins getting traded. Biggest news, and everyone's still waiting on defense, right? So everyone, I think last week before Watson got injured, people were thinking the Browns were going to have a fire sale. So, maybe some of those guys would come available. And the other guy's Mason Crosby with the Raiders, right? I think all eyes are on him and I don't know what, the Niners are so dinged up. They lost Ayuk, so they trade. I don't recall if they picked somebody up or not, but the Ravens
got Pearsall back, the guy that was shot before the season.
Yeah, so they got him back on the field. The Ravens traded, was it today or yesterday that they picked up?
It was the Ravens that made the trade.
Yeah, so they traded away practically nothing to get Deontay Johnson out there,
which
means they didn't have much faith in Bateman or even Marquise Brown coming back.
And Bateman was coming on too. I'm surprised they really kind of thought that they needed more help there, but
yeah, I don't know.
They didn't give up much, like you said. So
now they'll have Zay Flowers, Deontay Johnson, Isaiah Likely, and Mark Andrews, and that's a pretty potent passing quad right there. All four of those guys can play, and Lamar's exciting. So Baltimore's clearly in it.
Loaded, man. They got Henry running like he's 22 years old again.
Yeah, they're all in on this season, and we'll see how it plays out. The Bills. Didn't the Bills pick up?
They lose to the Browns.
Yeah, so the Bills picked up Cooper, and they've got Keenan Coleman, their rookie, playing well too. So the Bills' offense is pretty square.
Yeah, that was a good pickup by the Bills too. The Bills, but so let's just take a step back. I just asked you because I think you sounds like you watched the game. I didn't watch any of it. How the heck did the Ravens lose to the Browns? What happened?
They slept on them. I think they took them a little lightly. I don't think anybody expected Jameis to come out and throw like he did, but Jameis was on the money. He had 2 or 3 really bad throws where he overthrew the guy, and usually those would be interceptions if this was Jameis playing as a starter, but they weren't caught, including the last one that landed right in the hands of Kyle Hamilton, the safety, and he just kind of juggled that one away, and then Jameis hits the touchdown to Tillman. And that guy's an impressive guy. Cedric Tillman on the Browns. That guy, ever since they traded away
Cooper. Was that the Cowboys?
I think it is.
The same guy? Yeah.
And he's balling now with this Browns offense. So, I always feel sorry for the Browns, so I'll watch them if they're on. I'm just seeing if there's any glimmer of hope there for Browns fans.
Yeah, I've been feeling sorry for the Browns since Ernest Biner fumbled the 1-yard line.
Ooh,
Broncos back in like
Can't bring that up. Can't bring that up with Browns fans, huh?
84.
Yeah, that's the last time they had any hope, right? 26-something quarterbacks later, we're at Jameis Winston, that time. So, I'm where we're at for trades. I think Max Crosby's the last biggest name that I think might be on the move somewhere if the Raiders decide to offload his contract and blow everything up in LA.
So if they're willing to move Crosby, you would think that Howie would be in on it in some way.
I think there's a chance. I also think, though, that Howie watching this team grow together over the last 3 weeks is probably like, I don't need to move at all. And so most of those guys that
injury though at the defensive end position, and we get extremely thin. We're already getting more out of Brandon Graham than we expected. But if one of those guys goes down, if Sweat goes down or Graham goes down, we're very thin there.
The teams that are going to be paying a lot for Crosby are going to be those desperate teams that need a guy now. And I don't think Howie is in that position where he's got to get a guy now.
Yeah, they're not desperate.
He'll backstop it in the draft and he'll be prepared. He knew Graham was going to be in his last season, so he's already got a plan in play.
You know what move I would have liked the Eagles to make is getting God, I'm so bad with names. Who's the guy that the Falcons got right before the season started from the Patriots? You know what I'm talking about?
Defense.
Yeah, defense. Yeah, the pass rusher. Number the hell's his name?
Kyle Van Noy?
Was that? No, not him. I'll have to check the Falcons roster. Go ahead and talk a little bit more about Crosby.
Matthew Judon?
Yes, Judon. Yes, that's the guy. Because they got him for not much of anything. I thought Judon would be great here. And so I'm not sure where Howie was,
Even more so, I think Howie was happy with the guys that were here.
Yeah, I just think a guy like Junon. I mean, what did Atlanta give up? Like a 5th round pick? It was like nothing to get a guy like that who's a bona fide pass rusher. That I just think they're they're doing okay right now. They're definitely sacks are way up the last few weeks.
Howie's
they're
not
one injury away from being really razor thin at the defense end.
But Howie's not going to give up on Huff. That's the guy they went out and got. Got, and Howie's going to give him time to develop. So I don't think the Eagles move. I think all of that is speculation and rumor on the Eagles' part. I don't think they make a trade.
All right.
Unless somebody gets hurt, but that would be in practice before we get to the week 8 game. So, because it's still week 8, right? Or is it week 9?
I believe they kept saying that the trading deadline's a week away, and that was on the radio today. So it must be next Tuesday.
So, yeah, unless there's an injury sustained this weekend that's substantial, I don't see the Eagles making a trade.
Yeah, or Wednesday, I guess. Today's Wednesday. Yeah, okay. Well, I mean, he would be the guy. I would think that if the Eagles do have an interest, if somebody like that's name is out there, I think Howie would at least make a phone call. See what they're looking for. But more than likely, I mean, I definitely, agree at the end of the day, I agree that they'll probably stay put. I just think it leaves them with a whole lot of season to go and no bye week. Very thin at that position.
They still have, they
have Jalen, what's his name?
Or Jalix Hunt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who gets sporadic playing time.
That are hanging around on the roster playing special teams. So I really don't think they're going to make a move.
Well, you know what? I actually texted our good friend of the program, Johnny, earlier today. I don't think he got back to me. He must be busy. Because the Eagles picked up, he hasn't got back to me yet. The Eagles today picked up off the Washington practice squad, Braden Daniels. Do you know anything about him? I asked Johnny to give me a, basically is he any good type of deal. He was a 4th round pick of Washington, either last year or the year before, and he was in the practice squad, and the Eagles just picked him up. So,
where does he play? What position?
He's D line, but I don't know if he's an end or tackle.
Yeah, I don't know. The name sounds familiar, but not in a way that I would be able to recall any of those.
Yeah, Johnny didn't get back to me yet, so we'll slap him around. We have him back on the show for not getting back to me. But yeah, so that's anyway, that's still Eagles news. They just picked that guy up. And I think if you pick a guy off a practice squad, he has to be on your roster. So that means he's going to be on the roster. I think that's the rule. Like if you grab somebody off someone's other team's practice squad, he has to be on the roster. Like you can't just put him on your practice squad.
Right.
So that means he's on the roster. So I don't know whose that means is going to be bounced off the roster. But
I think they'll probably lose a lineman once Mailata gets back.
Yeah, so they got an opening right now.
So they just signed Jack Driscoll last week, so he's probably just the body to fill in until Mailata's back.
By the way, speaking of Driscoll, did you see that play where he was like completely lost on the entire play? That during the game, I mean, the Eagles had to call I don't know what happened. It was just a mess from the beginning. Like he didn't know he's on the field, not knowing where the hell he is. The Eagles had to call timeout. I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, look at what's going on. In fact, I totally forgot what number he was. Did he change numbers from last year?
Yeah, I think he did.
Because I'm yelling at the TV, what the hell's 75 doing? Yeah. What the hell is he doing out there? I'm like, is this guy just a walk on from the Eagles today on the sidelines? Who is this guy? I didn't even realize it was Driscoll until later. Yeah. But he just came on the field he had no idea what the play was, if he was even to be on the field.
I don't think he did. I
don't mean to I like Driscoll overall. I think he's a good depth guy, but man, again, I didn't know who he was at the time. I'm like, who's this 75 guy out there walking around like he's got no clue? He's supposed to have to call timeout.
Yeah, so he'll probably drop back down, and maybe Braden Daniels get some snaps on the D line.
You know what happened on that play?
No.
Okay. I thought maybe you. So you were as puzzled as I was. What the hell's going on?
Yeah, do the right thing. Call timeout. Get them straightened out.
All right. I don't know. It was weird. Plus the whole shoe thing with Jalen, that was weird too.
I want to say, wasn't that the play where he eventually, after they came out of timeout, he was reporting as tackle eligible? Wasn't that near the goal?
That's what it was. Something weird was going on. It was 2 plays in a row with him. He was just didn't know what was going on. I don't know if it was his fault or maybe it was the coach's fault. but it was weird. Your screen froze, by the way. I don't know if what happened over there.
You sure? I just haven't been moving.
Yeah, no, you're definitely frozen.
I'm moving now.
Yeah, you're frozen on the screen.
Oh, well, must be the Wi-Fi.
Yeah, it could be. Hopefully it comes back. If not, you have a still image there for the rest of the show.
That's right.
All right, so where were we? We were talking about trades. So I think
we're pretty much done with trades.
Yeah, I think we're done with trades. Oh, there you go. You're back now. Yeah, so you don't think the Eagles are making a move? I don't see him making any move either. Like, I think Howie would always, at least engage with some teams about some guys, but because the health is relatively good on the team right now, we're going to get guys back. Goddard's coming back soon. Mailata's going to be back in probably 2 or 3 weeks. Overall, knock on wood, especially considering you look at all these major injuries all across the league, the Eagles are, they're in really good shape compared to everybody else. So that's good. All right, let's get into Jaguars. Doug Peterson. He's like fighting for his job.
Yep.
And they're coming into this game they're already playing bad. They're coming into this game they just traded their best offensive lineman. That was the other trade I was thinking of. They traded Cam Robinson. I think it's his name,
That's
right?
right. Yep.
Cam Robinson to the Vikings. So their best offensive lineman they just traded.
Yep.
So, and they're not playing good right now. And they've had some injuries too with their wide receivers all banged up. Christian Kirk is out for the season. I think their second wide receiver is also banged up and probably is not going to play. They're coming in here really banged up. But as I was telling during my post game, I'm like, it doesn't matter. The Jaguars could have half a squad, and they will play the Eagles freaking tough.
At least that first half. The Eagles Eagles always seem to turn it around in that second half and finally get it cranked up and going. But yeah, Jacksonville's been notoriously a slow start for the Eagles to even catch up and realize they had a game to play. So we'll see.
One game when it was like 21-3 or something at halftime, like the Eagles were like getting blown out by the Jaguars.
Yeah.
And the Jaguars and Eagles came back and won that game.
That's because it's spread over that game. I think the Eagles defense, though, I think maybe Trevor throws up 1 or 2 interceptions here. I think Kenyon Mitchell finally gets to return one a little bit.
Yay! I'm gonna be so psyched for him when he finally picks one off.
Yeah, and what a play by Isaiah Rodgers last week. So they're deep, right? The Slay goes out, Rodgers comes in, he runs step.
He was right with yeah.
So
he actually said I don't know if you saw it, but they asked him on the play if he actually intended to knock it to CJ, and he said yes. He goes, I know that he was going to be around me in that type of protection or defensive call that they had. Yeah. And he's like, so yeah, I was trying to bat it over and hoping he was there to get it.
Put it in the field.
Tried to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. It was brilliant.
Yeah.
I expect more of that. Turnovers on defense are a contagious thing. When you don't have them, you're not going to get them. But as soon as you start, I texted you in the middle of that game, and I'm like, they are close. Something's going to pop here.
Yeah, you called it.
A turnover. And then that one turnover led to another turnover, right? So I think that's going to
be another great play. That was Bond punching the ball out from the guy.
Yep. And Dean's there to recover the fumble. So I think they're going to give Jacksonville all they can handle going against that defense. And I don't think Trevor Lawrence is a good quarterback. So I think maybe we get 2 picks in this game. We'll see.
I think they're breaking out the Kelly Greens. Speaking of the Kelly Greens, Matt's wearing one right now. So yeah, the Kelly Greens will be out for the Eagles this weekend. There it is with the JB patch. So yeah, I always love to see the Kelly Greens. That's where Matt and I grew up watching the Eagles and the Kelly Greens. So it's very nostalgic for us for sure.
All they have to do is worry about their run defense is good. So just make sure that the rookie wide receiver over there, Thomas, doesn't go off.
Yeah, he's good.
And put some pressure on Trevor Lawrence. And he
might be got hurt though. Was that the one I was thinking of?
I don't know. He played last week and had a good game.
Yeah, okay. Maybe he's okay then. I know that Kirk is out for the season. That I know for sure. So
Eagles, all they do, I don't even have much of a game plan for this. Again, no turnovers. Don't turn the ball over so that you give a bad team a chance. And they should just come into this game and handle their business, period. Run Barkley, get Van Sumeren on the field early in the first half and let Barkley just slam it up there behind the lead fullback, break a couple big ones, break their spirit early, and then just pile on the points.
I'd love to see them right off. Like Andy Reid used to do this every once in a while when he had McNabb. First play of the game, just launch a bomb to like AJ or Smitty. He hasn't Sirianni doesn't seem to do that, or he has not done that I can recall for any game that he's coached. But it'd be nice to see them just call a bomb, just a straight post to one of the guys. See what happens.
They used to do it with Watkins. When they had Quez Watkins here in the slot, the speed guy, they used to.
Not the first play of the game. I'm talking like first play of the game.
Yeah, maybe not first play, but Sirianni would strike early to try to get that to hit. And I hit like once in 3 years.
Yeah.
The rest was Quez Watkins.
Plus he dropped a lot of them too.
Yeah. So, but I don't. I'd rather see them just slam Barkley up the middle. Like,
I agree. I'm just saying just take one shot. Because they're going to be focused on stopping Barkley. So to me, it's like, man, just fake it to Barkley, play action, like I said. Play action, pass the ball, and then.
If it's play action, I'm all for it. If it's an RPO.
No, not RPO.
Nope. I get you. I'll bet you if they try that, flag for illegal man downfield.
Exactly. There's more reason to call that play anymore.
Do I block for pass?
Yeah. The refs are really paying. I've seen other teams across the league get called for the same thing. So they're not just calling against the Eagles. But the refs are definitely watching that way more stricter than they have in the past, calling it way more often. It's just another reason, like you said, Matt, stop running the RPO so much.
Yeah, just go. Just do the play you want to do. Stop the RPO. By the way, speaking about refs looking for the illegal man downfield, maybe that's why those refs didn't see Sam Darnold get his head twisted off with a face mask on Thursday night. I can't believe there's no penalty there. How do you live with that?
Yeah.
And everyone's like, well, the game's over. Like, you put that offense on the 20 with 1:18 left to go, then you've got a game. Darnold can throw that ball as far as anybody.
Yeah, he's going to go down.
To let that penalty, the replay I saw, there's two refs looking right at it. I'm like, how
I don't understand it.
Not throwing a flag?
Do you remember that play a few years ago against Washington where Zach Ertz got completely his head? Guy grabbed his whole entire face mask and brought him all the way to the ground. That's the play Ertz got hurt on.
Yeah.
Not Hurts, but got hurt on that play. Ended up being a fumble or whatever, and they called it a touchdown. I'm like, how do you miss that type of face mask?
No
I don't
call.
know how refs miss those plays. What do you
Well, at least on that play, the refs had to run a little bit. This was like
they're standing there.
Like your job is to watch that quarterback. I'm like, unbelievable how that wasn't called.
They're all right. To your point, they're all watching the offensive line to make sure they're not running downfield.
Yeah. They're like, nope, they're all good. No flag.
Meanwhile, 5 feet from them, there's a guy being gouged in the face.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, that was terrible.
Unacceptable. Can you imagine if that happened to the Eagles against like Dallas, and that was our drive to come back? We would find that referee's house and egg it. Brutal. I'm not recommending we do that, but we would be pissed.
We're not endorsing that type of thing here, but it'd be crazy. So we got the Jaguars this week. The Eagles, like you said, should just go out,
handle,
pound them in the ground, and then we got the big Dallas game coming up after that. So, and we got two really big games coming up after that: Dallas, and then we got Washington, within 4 days of each other. So
and then the Rams are too far behind those two guys. So
when the Rams are now healthy again, they got Cooper and the other guy back, the other wide receiver there,
Puka Nacua.
Yeah. So, and they both came back looking like they haven't missed any time at all.
Yep. Stafford looks like
he's running back really good too. Williams that guy's good running back.
Yep. And
Stafford's obviously a good quarterback. So that team's, I don't know how good their defense is, but they definitely have a lot of potency on offense. So tough stretch after this game. And I'll tell you, like we said, even this game, don't overlook the Jags. They always play the Eagles tough. Matt and I could say that from firsthand experience. Yeah. I think we've seen them play the Jaguars. This is probably the first time in Philly that we're not there to see the Jaguars in like 3 years. Yeah, the last 3 or 4 times. And every time the Eagles have been losing early and had to come back to win. They did win them all, but not easy. So, and then, like we were talking about, Doug Peterson's like playing for his job right now. So
I'm going to make
Go ahead.
We will score points in the first quarter in this one.
Oh yeah, we're gonna break the streak. You know what? Can't even. I know the streak's still alive, but it really is not the Eagles' fault for the first time, because again, I mentioned the Bengals had the ball for over 10 minutes with their first drive, so the Eagles only had 5 minutes, and they were driving. They actually did score on their first drive of the game, and just went into the second quarter.
Yeah.
So, but the streak is still alive. They still have not scored in the first quarter.
We're going to score in the first quarter.
All right, so there's a bold prediction. All right, so let's while you said it, who's going to make the score then? What's the score going to be? What's the who's going to score a touchdown or a field goal? Because even a field goal counts.
Let's go to Barkley. Let's go Barkley.
Barkley? All right. Well, since we're doing the predictions, we'll write it down, make it official.
But watch out for that sneaky Quinyon Mitchell picking 6.
Oh, for the first score?
Yep. Just beware.
I guess that would still break the streak, right? It wouldn't break the offensive streak. It would still break the streak, though.
It would break the streak.
Yeah.
Scoring points in the first quarter. Mark it down.
I'm going to put Barkley first TD. Matt predicts streak ends. All right. I don't know if this is the right team to say the streak's going to end, fans, because, again, we just talked about how they've just had really bad slow starts against the Jaguars.
Yep.
So, hey, why not? Why not end it on a team that you always struggle with early and just think the opposite will happen? All right, so let's make our predictions and we'll get out of here.
You go first.
All right, I'll go first. I think the Eagles are the way they're playing right now, the Jags being beat up as they are, even though I've said you got to be wary of them. I'm going to go with 31-13. I'm just going to flip the numbers. How's that? 31-13 Eagles.
Yeah, I was thinking 28-13. So we got the box score exactly right. We'll see what happens with the Jags, but I was thinking 28-13. So I'm sticking with my score I had last year. Last week against the Bengals, 28 points. Hopefully they get 31. That's fine with me, but 28-13.
Very good. We're both right where we thought, in sync as far as the game is concerned. Matt's got Barkley scoring the first, maybe not the first points of the game, but at least in the first to end the streak. He's got a Barkley touchdown.
In the first quarter. Yep. I think the Eagles get 2 more turnovers, and I think they don't turn the ball over, and they win handily. Full control.
Very good. So we'll be back on the post game. At least I will definitely be back. I'll be shooting the link out to Matt. He may or may not join us for the post game on Sunday. I think it's a 4:00 start, isn't it? It's a 4:00 game.
I don't know.
1:00. I think it might be a 4 for some reason. I don't know why I'm thinking that. But
East Coast though. It's gotta be.
Yeah, it's an East Coast game, but this I think initially was supposed to be the Sunday night game.
Oh, okay.
So I think they flexed it out, and I think they put it at 4. But
Okay.
I could be wrong. Don't quote me on it, but I don't have time to look it up right now. I don't want to waste any of the viewers' time. So, but anyway, we'll have the post game. We'll get Matt on next week, and with Cowboy Week, Hate Week is soon after. We'll be bringing on a special Cowboy guest to the program to talk Cowboys. So that'll be fun.
Parsons is returning, right? He's looming out there.
Not back this week, probably next week.
Yeah. So that makes a big difference, but we'll see.
Yeah.
The Cowboys can't seem to run the ball worth a.
No, it's funny. They brought up what's his name, the former Viking, last week, and then they just sent him back down. I mean, I don't know he didn't do anything, but they don't have any routes. I don't know why they don't give the guy the ball.
Yeah.
Their other running backs are terrible.
They're going to be in trouble if they got to rely on Dak. I think the Eagles finally going to turn that one around, but we'll save that one for later.
You shut down CeeDee Lamb. I don't think that team does anything. I mean, well, who else do they have? I mean, CD is so good, he still goes off. I mean, didn't he have like
Turbin? Yeah, Turbin.
Turbin is dangerous. That guy scares me on special teams.
If they sleep on him, he can make a grab or two. But
true.
CD's probably going to get his grabs, but if they just control everything else, they should win that one.
Did you see the interview in the tunnel with Diggs?
No.
You didn't see it?
Trayvon Diggs, yes, to the reporters.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's snapping. He's breaking apart.
Yeah.
Yeah. Team chemistry is kind of heading out the window on that. Love to see it. Love the fact that it's not happening in our locker room. So enjoy.
Yeah. Well, it's all good. It's all good. It's just quality entertainment for us watching the Cowboys implode. It's exciting. All right. Well, with that said, thanks again for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment below. Let us know your thoughts on the game, predictions if you have them. And we'll see you next time. Until then, as we always say, fly, Eagles, fly. Matt, any final words?
Go Birds.
Go Birds. All right. We'll catch you on Sunday evening after another Eagles victory. Catch you later.